All right, I think we should start. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So we have different time zones. Welcome to join our first Women in IES Committee panel online forum today. Thank you for taking your time to join us. So today we have many IES friends join this session, as well as there are a few and actually a fair amount of students and young professionals, as well as other IEEE members, which are not IES members yet. So we have some new faces joining us today as well, and welcome. So first, I would like to introduce our Women in IES committee member
Recording
today
in
who
progress.
are with us. So we have Dr. Lucia Labello, who is from the University of Catania in Italy, and Dr. Godi Nija from the University of Toronto in Canada, and Dr. Leila Pasa from the University of California at Santa Cruz. Leila, you wave your hand. Yeah. And Dr. Jenny Shen from the University of Washington at Tacoma, and Ms. Regina Roos from Typhoon Hill in Switzerland, and of course myself from the Housing University in Canada. So our committee is very excited to host this event today. And we also have our president-elect, Dr. Marlis Manek, who is with us today, and also Dr. Antonia Luque, who is our VP membership. And thank you for your support for this event. All right, let's get it started. Let me see. Okay. So before we start, I would like to also introduce my students, Lucas Wang, who is my PhD student, and also my postdoc fellow, Danje Zhu, and they will be volunteering, help us for the question and answering period. Thank you very much for your time. So for today's schedule, we have a few items. So first, I would like to take the chance to introduce the IE Society, some general information of the society, and we will focus on the Women in IS events introduction as well. And after that, we have our committee members sharing our experiences in these orders of Lucia, Godi, me, Leila, Regina, and Jenny. And then Regina will be our moderator for our panel discussion. After that, we have the question and answering period. If you have any question, feel free to put it in the chat. And also after that, during the session, you're welcome to raise your hand and we'll call your name when it's your turn. All right. IES Society, pretty much it covers a broad spectrum of topics in electronic society. And we have, for example, the area I'm doing, robotics, mechatronics, control system, and industrial 4.0 or manufacturing, cybersecurity, digital twins, even healthcare applications. And here are more areas that you can see. And for example, factory communication and automation, power electronics, data acquisition, and many others. So we have more than 10,000 members in total. It's one of the oldest, most international, and the most successful society in IEEE. We have many top ranked journals, and also we organize many conferences in this area. So the first journal is TIE and also TII. They are pretty much ranked very top in the JCR, and also many factors they rank the journal's impact. And the Industrial Electronics magazine is also one of the magazine we pass information what's happening in the society. So our event today will be also reported in the future issue. And we have some new journals. One of the latest one is the CPS, IEEE Transaction CPS, and there's also one journal focused on emerging topics, and one more open access journal, OJ IES. We have 3 flagship conferences in the society. We just had ICIT in Orlando last month, and we'll have our next one in Finland, and ICON 2023, which is the biggest conference in the society, which will be held in Singapore. And totally, we have more than 20 conferences and workshops all over the world. So our members will have lots of benefit if you join the Industrial Electronics Society. And we have many technical committees, which covers lots of topics related to IES. And we have student branch chapters and also chapters all around the world, and the young professional community, as well as our women in IES. And there are also some kind of activity related to humanitarian projects like a smarter village. And overall, we are a very active society which holds lots of activities, and you're welcome to join if you're not a member yet. And if you're IEEE member already, for regular member, it only costs like $9 US, and for student members, on $5 more. Yeah. So Women in IES is a part of Women in Engineering in IEEE, and we promote membership and we organize activities as we have posted online in the website. And we also promote EDIA for all the events and activities within the IES Society. So in 2023, we formed a Women in IES committee. That's what all the people we are having here today. And so I just introduced, I'm going to skip this slide. And also we introduced and designed a new Women in IES website, and it's launched around the International Women's Day in March. And we post lots of events on this website, and Cecile, who is the editorial assistant for IET News, kindly promote this website and news in this IET. And here is the sample of the Women in IES events that we can have a look. Like you can find as a corresponding information, and we will be going to post more news or events or anything we think we would like to share with the members. So we'll put it all there. So I would like to mention the DEI event that we just had in Orlando last month. So this was organized by Lucia, and she is the chair of the DEI committee for the society. Regina and I are also part of this committee. So it was a very successful event. There's a speaker from the IEEE TAB DNI committee chair, Dr. Novak, who did a talk in this event, and we had a very fruitful discussion on the DNI in this event. Regina was the moderator as well. So I would like to mention this as this event happened recently. So we will organize a series of webinars for women in IES, and we have the first webinar organized. It's already launched on the IET, I believe in the GoToWebinar website. You can register from this link. So I'm going to send this link in the chat so you can have a check and register from there. And we are planning to have more webinars scheduled for the fall term from September to December this year as well. So stay tuned. I will post all this information on the website later. So this is the web page that after you click that link, you will have the chance to register for the webinar. So this is from Dr. Lacroix Pavel from UFT in Canada as well. So in Singapore for the ICON conference, we will try to organize luncheon event at this conference. And we have 3 confirmed speakers for this event. And it's still under planning, and hopefully it will be a very successful event for our society and for this conference. Overall, what we are trying to do to organize the activity in this Women in IES, we would like to have a bigger impact for women in the society. So there are a few ideas we have, which we are currently still working on. And we are thinking about, we should have more outreach activities, and we should assign, for example, regional rep or ambassadors in different areas or regions, so they can organize events on their own and to attract more members for IES. And we could also organize some mentoring sessions, can be in the form of in-person, online, both are fine. And for example, travel support for some people who are in the underrepresented areas. And we will continue to organize conference events in the forms of luncheon or forums or workshops or technical session as well. And we'll build a pathway for junior volunteers. So it's something we are still under kind of discussing, like what kind of best forms or what can we do best to organize those events. It's a lot of effort we need to put into, and definitely we welcome more volunteers. So the idea I have now is we could build more subcommittees or bring more volunteers. So for each category of this event will be kind of in charge by subcommittee chair or something like that. But we will give you more information when it's ready to pass the information. All right, so I will stop here for the introduction. And so we have an email address, we have a LinkedIn group, and please join us for all the events in this year. And of course, if you are interested in volunteering, because we are trying to build a whole big group, a volunteer group, so please email us and we will be able to look at your experience and to see your interest, which group you're going to join. Is there any hands?
Milos, yeah, Milos would like to,
okay.
I say.
Sure, Milos.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this great introduction, Yoon. I'd like to say a couple of words about our society. We take great pride in demonstrating about twice as much women in engineering membership relative to the rest of the IEEE. So we take a great effort to pay attention to this and increase membership of our female volunteers even further. Thank you very much for organizing this event. I'd like also to give credit and mention Dr. Lucia Lobello, who actually started women engineering back in 6 years ago or so, back in 2017 at ICON in 2017, and then 2018, and that's where it all started. So thank you very much, Lucia, for starting this, and thank you very much, Yoon, for continuing. Thank you.
Thank you, Maris. Regina, you have your hand on? Let me see.
I only clapped the hands for Lucia because I feel it is starting with one, and with one who then gets the followers, the community can grow. So happy to see that Lucia is still, I say, in the arena with us today.
Thank you, Regina. Yes, I actually was one of the volunteers inspired by Lucia's event in Vancouver in IES IE 2019, just before the COVID. So yeah, we will pass the torch to the women in IES, more volunteers in the future from Lucia, and thank you, Lucia, for your contribution. And the events we have organized from the women in IES in the past, it's being posted on the IET news that I just showed you before, and also the list has been listed on our website. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next session. Oops, sorry. Yeah, here. So right now, we are going to share our exciting experiences from our own career paths. And all the members here are very successful and excellent people who achieved a lot in their career. I would leave that for themselves to introduce. So we'll start with Lucia. So Lucia, you would like to share your screen at your side, I guess? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
It's coming. Yeah, great.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I wanted to acknowledge also the work done by Leila. Actually, I received the torch from her. So it's very nice that all of us are here, because this makes that we are really team building people, and we help each other because we are going into the same direction. We want a more diverse, equal, and inclusive environment for us, and also for the younger generation to come. So I will briefly introduce myself. Currently, I'm a professor at the University of Catania in Italy. In the past, I was a professor in Sweden at Lund University, was visiting research in Seoul National University. I got my master's degree in electronic engineering and the PhD in computer engineering from the university where I'm currently working, but I have already 29 years of research experience. That is a nice way to say that I'm getting old. And I work in real-time systems and networks, industrial and automotive communication, wireless sensor networks, and embedded systems. As you can see there, I did a lot of work to publish paper, to run project, even a research contract with companies. I work actively inside international standardization bodies. I wrote some patent. I'm very honored that I received the IEEE Industrial Electronics Society Early Career Award in 2008, and more recently the Rudolf Chope Research and Development Award. I'm senior member of the IEEE since 2009 and the IES senior ADCOM member since 2022. And this helps me to summarize my engagement with IES. So it's really a lifelong journey, started in 2000. And then I covered several roles. I was the TC chair of technical committee on factory automation for 2 terms. Then I was a member at large of the ADCOM. I was the representative for women in engineering for 5 years. I am running my 2nd term as secretary. I am associate editor for the IEEE Transaction Industrial Informatics and IEEE Industrial Electronics magazine. And I'm really happy that I joined this environment that was very fruitful for my career. It's a very friendly environment where you can get familiar with people that can really give you a lot of support to make up your mind, to focus better your research. They encourage you in organizing the conference events. So if you are willing to volunteer, this is the right place for doing it. It's the right community. So this is my research group. This is my family. Work-life balance is always challenging you know, especially when you have a 15 years old kid and a dog and a husband and a lot of work, but still we can manage. Of course, there is always room for improvement, but I think the secret is not striving for perfection. And finally, just a little bit about my experience as a woman in engineering. So I was born in Syracuse, that is in Sicily, that is the southernmost Italian region. Okay, it was quite conservative at that time. I'm speaking about 1986, when at the age of 18, I announced to my parents that I was going to study electronic engineering in another city at the University of Catania. At that time, many people were asking me, why does a woman choose electronics engineering? Surely you can make it. And yes, now I can say I made it, but they were skeptical people. After my PhD, I was visiting research at Seoul National University in South Korea. And the typical objection of people around me was, it's really worth going so far for a woman. And I went, I didn't take care. And now I can say that it was very good for my career. More recently, 2014, I was invited to be guest professor at Mälardalen University in Sweden for 6 months. The objection people around me was, what about your family? Well, family is still up and running, and I can say we manage. So the conclusion is, even today, my trolley is always ready for the next trip. The next trip will be in Helsinki for IES. And although people object, oh, you are often far from home, now I say it's part of my work. And this, I think, connects quite well with the topics of this workshop. And I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. And it's so nice to hear from you of all the experience you have done for IES and your achievements, and receive so many awards as well. Congratulations. All right, so let's move on to our next speaker, Godi. Okay, Godi, you go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm excited to be a part of this committee. I'm a newbie, so this is my first time joining this committee, and I'm excited to meet. I've met new people, and I've had a fantastic time getting to know and networking with other individuals that have the same research interests or even volunteering interests as I do. So as I was previously introduced, my name is Goldy Najat. I'm a full professor at the University of Toronto. I hold a research chair. We have Canada research chairs in the country. My research chair is in Robots for Society. I just took a new position. I'm the associate chair for research for my department, which is the Mechanical and Industrial Engineering Department. I direct my own lab, and I also, because I do a lot of healthcare robotics research, have adjunct scientist positions at the Toronto Rehabilitation Institute, as well as Baker's Health Sciences and the Rotman Institute, which deals with neuroscience. So it's very exciting to be multidisciplinary. And as I mentioned, my research is in robotics, and it's kind of fun to be in robotics right now. And we'll discuss this, I think, in the panel, incorporating robotics and AI together. What our research team has really focused on is that really theme of robots for society. We develop robots. They're intelligent assistive service robots to help people with everyday tasks, whether it's in the workplace or in the home place, whether it's for healthcare applications, manufacturing, retail, or services. Our robots are intelligent in the sense that they engage with people, adapt to their needs, and can respond to what the user's needs and wants are. Our robots are also persuasive. They can persuade people to help them to accomplish a certain task. So we deal with a lot of older adults that are living with dementia or cognitive impairment that need assistance with activities of daily living. Anything from brushing your teeth to making a meal for yourself. So our robots are there to support them, to promote independent living and aging in place. As we all get old, we want to stay in our homes. So why not try to develop technology that supports that? We also have a research program in search and rescue and service robotics. So you can see these are robots deployed in harsh environments, cluttered environments. Search and rescue is a huge application, whether it's urban search and rescue after a large earthquake where there's rubble, collapsed buildings, and we have to go in and find the victims as quickly as possible because it's a time-critical situation. So our robots can be deployed in teams, so they're cooperative with other robots to help locate where the victims are, map out the environment to figure out where the dangers are, and provide that information to rescue operators to safely be able to go into these scenes and also find the victims. And we've done a lot of human-robot interaction and cooperation, whether it's, doing a task together or assisting a person. So maybe I'll show you some videos based on this. So this is, for example, our search and rescue research program. You throw a robot in a new environment, it has to learn how to navigate and explore that environment. For the first time, it's never seen this environment before. Robot mobility, this is a really difficult task for a robot, try to, for the first time, see this pipe and try to climb into it. This is our unknown and cluttered environments program. We also deal with the material handling, handovers from a robot of an object to a person. How does a robot recognize this object? How to take it efficiently from the person and be able to do this all naturally. We do a lot of sensory design to help with identification and recognition of objects. And then, of course, deploying robots in human-centered environments where they have to work together around humans and with humans. Lastly, we're dealing with people. And this is kind of the exciting part of developing robots, is human-robot interaction and social interaction, robots and humans communicating naturally with each other. So we've done a lot of development in assisting people with, I was mentioning, activities of daily living, anywhere from dressing. So this is our Leia robot providing moving recommendations.
Or you can choose your own custom settings.
So here,
on the touch screen,
I can
let me know what type of activity you're
through
planning.
the type of clothing that you want to choose
Planning to go
for a certain
outdoor
activity.
walking.
Great, you chose outdoor walking. Give me 1 moment to come up with your recommended outfit. Okay, here is your clothing recommendation for the day. I recommend you wear your gray hoodie, your navy jeans, your black windbreaker, and your white Vans sneakers.
You can choose to accept the robot's recommendation, or you may say no, and the robot has to be able to adapt to your preferences. It's all about engagement and compliance, and we want long-term interaction with robots. We want robots to be deployed in our environments and it helping us effectively over the course of time. We've also done group-based activities. Here is our Tangi robot facilitating a bingo session or even a trivia session with older adults. And this is through our program in cognitive interventions. Can you use robots to provide social and cognitive interventions for people? So that kind of gives you an overview of my research, how I got to where I am now. I graduated from the University of Toronto with my PhD, and my first year of PhD, I became an IEEE student member, which allowed me to get involved in IEEE. And since then, it's been over 20 years now that I've been an IEEE member. I've had the opportunity to volunteer, co-organize certain conferences, as well as being associate editor for certain journals. I've gotten to develop new workshops and engage young adults that were interested in the same area of research as I was, mentor new students and new faculty members, or even new junior researchers who are just coming out of their graduate school and where to go and what should they do. So it's been really exciting to be a part of IEEE, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you, hopefully. Thank you. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Gaudi, for the interesting research in robotics that I hope I will have a chance to visit your lab in the near future. Yeah,
Definitely.
Thank you very much. So the next one is actually me, right? Just let me share my screen. Screen. Oops, I go to the last page, sorry. All right, so I'm Yajun, and I'm now working at the Dalhousie in Canada. So I tried to pull out some pictures of my university I have attended, but they change a lot. It's harder to find those pictures. Anyway, so I got my bachelor and a master in China. So this is Yansan University as a mechanical engineering student. And also I did a mechanical automation engineering at Zhejiang University. And then I moved to Singapore for my PhD in electrical and computer engineering. The reason I moved from mechanical to electrical was that during the master study, we took the control system course and I really love it. So that's why now I'm doing research in this area or as a from my PhD study. Then I got a chance to do postdoc fellow in France. And this is the building that I'm familiar with. So I just took out this picture as well. So in the lab, which they changed their name as GIPSA lab, and they do lots of work in control system automation, robotics as well. And after that, we immigrated to Canada, and I have been working in Alberta for 1 year, actually a little bit less than 1 year before I moved to current job at Dalhousie University from assistant professor to associate professor, then to professor. So right now I have my lab established, and we have done lots of work in collaborative robots. Here I show you some pictures of mobile robots, drones, and electrical vehicles, and robotic manipulators and haptic devices. I also have worked with industry as well as the Defense Canada on underwater robot and also unmanned surface vehicles. And we do also lots of research on teleoperation for teleoperate a group of robots or teleoperate manipulators. We also have done some work in like a healthcare application where we did some work on exoskeleton for rehabilitation, and we will also work on the AI-based training for the rehabilitation module, which patient can be used at home. Another area is that we also do some work of human-robot interaction, which is a different, like what Goldie is doing. So we kind of like want to work with human together. For example, the robot manipulator can know where the human is, and they can collaborate, work together in the manufacturing center. So those are the things I'm working in my lab, and I have a group of excellent students now working with me. And I believe I have probably 5 or 6 students in this session attending the seminar. So for professional activities, mainly I have been quite active in serving as editorial board. So currently I'm a senior editor for TMAC and have been serving as a technical editor, associate editor for some IEEE transaction journals. So for conferences, I have helped organizing as an associate editor, a publication chair, so many titles here. So in IEEE, I mainly have volunteered in IES as well in the Control System Society as well. And for example, nationally in Canada, I served as NSERC Discovery Grant Evaluation Group, where I got to know Goldie in the same committee. And yeah, so I've been quite active in contributing myself and my time and effort to organize some events, and as well as devoting my time in many different committees at the Dell and nationally and internationally. And that actually is very helpful to build our network as well. So I would like to talk a bit like being a professor, what the life look like. And if you're interested in being a professor in the future, as a student, you should think when you're doing a master or PhD, don't wait for too long because you need to build up your resumes. The thing I like being a professor is that the academic freedom. It's not the freedom in your life, it's professional freedom. And the flexible time schedule, we were joking with some friends, we say we are quite flexible. Other than teaching, our time is quite flexible to manage. But actually, it's also cons because you don't have the border. You may be, for example, for us, we may have to work until very late before the lecture or before seminar, whatever, dues. But as long as we enjoy research and teaching, we enjoy what we are doing. We don't say, oh, we're not overpaid for extra hours, but that's fine. And another thing is it's a very clear career path. So when you're on tenure track, you know your goal is to go to the next level of your different ranks. And also another part is self-satisfaction, which is a bigger part as well in my life. So what you need to prepare, I don't realize that publication record is very important in getting hired as a faculty member until I was during my PhD study, realized that when talking to different professors, or especially I attended the American Control Conference when I was a PhD student. And the other important part is you need to be in a research area which is not very constrained. You should have some freedom to explore in different state-of-the-art research frontiers, which give you more, because usually being a professor, you kind of have your career as 20 or 30 years. You needed to be in an area which is promising and can evolve in the future to area which is still vibrant. And of course, some students say, should I go to a better university or something like that? I would say you should go to a good research group, and you need a good supervisor, have a good mentor around you to promote you and help you during your journey, doing your research. And multitasking is another thing you should learn to do. And often I see some students say, oh, I'm so busy doing this thing, I cannot do other things. But if you imagine what the life of a professor is, they have to do probably 10 things at a time, at a day. So that's something you need to gain those skills. And handling stress with a dynamic environment. And there are other things like patience in doing research or perseverance. The last thing I want to talk about is the volunteering and the networking. They are so important. So I'm going to talk a bit in the panel discussion as well, but I can talk a little bit here. For example, at every stage of your career as a professor, you need your network. So I'm keeping that later for that. All right, so I'm going to stop here, but I want to show this picture. So maybe sometimes we say, I have tried my best. I have done all the things I think I can prepare, but I still don't get a job, or I still don't get what I want. So that's normal, that's part of the life. And what you can do is you get well prepared, but at the end, whether you get that goal or not, we still need to stay positive, stay optimistic, and stay actively driving ourselves to move forward. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right, switch my screen. So I think the next one is Leila. Yeah, Leila, please share your screen. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Okay, hello everyone. I am Leila Parsa and I'm happy to be here with you all. So nice to meet you all. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. So I actually was born and raised in Tehran, in Iran. I I got my undergrad degree and master degree in Iran. I did my master in Iran University of Science and Technology, which is actually in Tehran. Then I moved to Germany for a year. I wanted to study my PhD at Aachen University of Technology, but then I changed my mind and I came to the US. I joined Texas A&M University and did a PhD in power electronics, electric machines, and motor drives. During my PhD, I also did a short summer internship in Whirlpool that makes home appliances. So that has been pretty much my journey for my education. Right after my PhD, I joined as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is in upstate New York. Actually, that is probably the oldest engineering school in the US, but actually it means that its facilities and buildings were also quite old. So I was an assistant professor there from 2005 to 2011. Then I was promoted to associate professor with tenure 2011 to 2016. Then in 2016, because of family reason, I moved to University of California in Santa Cruz. And actually here, my research area is in power and energy. Here didn't have that program. So actually together with two of my colleagues, we launched the power program in University of California in Santa Cruz. So now I live actually very close to Santa Cruz in a small town called Scotts Valley. And I live with my husband and my daughter, who is 10 years old. And so a little bit about my research interest. I work on mostly power electronics and electromechanical energy conversion and their reliability. They have many applications, actually, most importantly in renewable energy systems and also in electrified transportation. So for example, if you look at renewable energy system, if you look at the energy from the wind, solar, or other resources, you need some interfaces to convert them to usable electricity that can be used. So I work on that interfaces, basically for capturing the energy and converting it to useful energy. Most recently, also I have been working on electrified transportation. So as transportation such as ship, airplanes, or even smaller airplanes are becoming more electrified. They need lots of power electronics, lots of electric motors, basically for propulsion or for generation. In case of electric aircraft, you want those components to be ultra light and very efficient, having high power density. So most recently, I have been working on electrified aircrafts. So my research have been funded basically by many companies, such as the Boeing, General Electric, also with government entities such as Office of Naval Research, Department of Energy, National Science Foundation, and other government entities. So a little bit about my services to IEEE. I joined IEEE maybe in early 2000s, maybe 2002, 2003 as a student member. Then I was a member, senior member, and right now I am an IEEE fellow. I have been active, especially after my graduation from my PhD, in organizing several conferences in the organizing committee as well as the technical program committee. So I have served as general chair, technical program co-chair, tutorial co-chair, track and topic chair. Actually, I'm chairing a conference right now that it is going to happen in 10 days in San Francisco. So it is approaching. I have been in the editorial board of many journals as an associate editor, including IEEE Transaction on Industrial Electronics in the past, IEEE Transaction Energy Conversion, as well as Industry Application. I have been member of several IES committees and also in other societies, including Nomination and Appointment Committee, Fellow Evaluation Committee, conferences and workshops, membership committees. So I have had membership in several committees. Also in the past, I was the chair of the IES Electric Machines Technical Committee, and also I served as a liaison, IES liaison to IEEE Society of Women in Engineering from 2013 to 2016. So in terms of my personal interests, I like traveling, I like reading, hiking, and also swimming. So that's pretty much about me. I'll be happy also to answer any questions when it comes to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila, for your introduction. All right,
Sure.
so our next one is Regina.
So I'm taking the screen as it looks like.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm a little bit of the loner in this field because I'm coming from the industry side. As far as I know, all the other participants which we have at the moment here on the panel are having an academic task or spend most of their time in the academic field. In my case, it's the opposite. I'm coming from the industry side. Presently, I'm working in business development for Typhoon Hill, a global SME, which means a small and mid-sized company as per definition in Wikipedia. First, I'd like to tell a little bit about my study experience. I studied electrical engineering in Germany, following my parents' advice. Do something where you can have a job in industry and make money. Don't be a teacher. So maybe I got the motivation because of that to spend time in IEEE and other activities to share my knowledge and do learning and education at a later part of my life. I was happy that I studied electrical engineering because it gave me a very good base for the future. I also did my MBA on the INSEAD Business School. The INSEAD Business School was the first business school which wasn't in America based, which offered a master's degree in Asia. So I did that in Singapore. And just recently, during the COVID times, I joined a second MBA class, which was with the Swiss Fachhochschule Nordwestschweiz, which allowed me to combine two very interesting fields, Swiss and Asia experience in case studies, in dealing with people, and refreshing my experience and knowledge in dealing in academia and industry. My lecturing experience more comes from the hobby side and not from the business side, because you will hear about my business experience in a few seconds. So I presently engage myself in IEEE events for technical and marketing, or call it mentoring presentations. I'm supporting Giuseppe Conti, who is doing negotiation training in workshops, because he was working for Procter & Gamble. I was working for ABB, and he was on the supply management side. I was on the sales side, and we really learned how to negotiate, like in a textbook, to make win-win situations for companies. And then later in life, and that comes to the point back which Yi Yun was mentioning before, build up your network, build up your connections. So when Giuseppe started his business, he was contacting me and saying, Regina, I need a sparring partner because I'm coming from purchasing, you are from sales, maybe you can help me in my workshops. I also am following my MBA in the Swiss university. I work there at selected cases. And my biggest pride is my lecturing activity for international business management at the Shenzhen University in China, because here I got really engaged in a challenge doing virtual education and dealing with a culture which is definitively not very close to German behavior, but we worked out a very good dynamics during the COVID time to handle this lecturing. Now, here a little bit about my business experience, which I like to share with you. I work in corporate organizations like ABB, Schneider and Electric, but I also have spent time in SMEs, and I find that very rewarding, because in corporate organizations, you learn a lot in how you deal in matrix organizations, which means special management structures, and also how important communication and culture is in an organization. And you can transfer that learning then into smaller organizations who deal with international customers, who deal with corporates, and who sometimes forget that, how you call it, integrity, ethic, compliance, and risk management are core keywords when it comes to close a deal. Not technique on its own makes a decision. What I always enjoyed in my career was that I worked in various fields, always front-end connected. So manufacturing was never my field where I spent the time, but project management for power stations. I operated in Asia in the sales field, developed sales teams, and I also managed a lot of major deals with cross-divisional combination of people and experts for closing successfully deals in the oil and gas segment and mining segment for ABB. Two highlights I would like to give. I came to Australia to build up the business there, which was mainly concentrating on one segment, and it was small. It was 5 million. So my managing director said to me, Regina, this is a continent. There should be more business possible. So I went there, and my first goal was get the right people on board, because it's not only about products, it's about people, and it is about making the connections with the people and understanding their pain and understanding their problems, and then deliver the right technical solution. And by the way, I really enjoyed, Goldie, what you brought about the topics in robotics, and also shown by others, because with robotics, we can solve a lot of problems which take pains away from people in all fields, including the health sector. Last not least, working in a mid-sized company called BKS Stromschienen, which is in the high voltage field, I learned also how important it is that the products have high quality, that you're following the international standards, and that you understand international and local installation requirements. During the last few years, and I really enjoy that a lot, I also worked together with some people in Switzerland, one also who supported presentations in IEEE already, Sahesh Pur, the digital funeral and elderly care concepts with digital tools. And here the robotics really struck me, Goldie, when you were just presenting it. And at the moment, I'm dealing with Typhoon Hill to set up an international sales organization. I know we want to be short because I really look forward to our panel. About my personal background, I lived in many countries in the world. Basically, I can say I have been on 3 continents, and that really gained for me knowledge in how to deal in private life when being in different cultures, and also how to negotiate in business life. I personally like, as a hobby, really any activity which is connected with the mountains, if that is skiing or hiking or mountain biking, then this is a field where I feel comfortable. I have 3 countries in my life where I want to, spend most of my free time whenever it is possible, which is Mexico, Singapore, and China. And I have a hobby project, Solar Butterfly. You can check that out yourself, because it is about sustainability and how you combine nature and digital activities to save our planet for the next generation. So then I would like to share 2 stories about my business life with you. When you ask the question too early, and this is about when you do communication with people, you should not immediately raise, questions because you want to know something. Better try to understand the person who is opposite you. Understand what he's doing. And what happened to me recently? I was really excited, and I said to this person, tell me where's the best restaurant in Switzerland? And guess what? Who was sitting across me? One of the most famous Swiss cooks with a Michelin star restaurant. So I don't think that was a right question to this man. I slapped into his face. So that was also a learning for me. Learn about your counterpart before you ask questions. And then very shortly about my vision and my dreams. And there are two people in my life who mean a lot to me. One is a lecturer out of America who already died, Randy Pausch. And he was saying, the brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. And now listen, the brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. And because brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough, which means the other people will break it and find the solution behind the wall. And that means you can have a dream, and when the dream is reality, then other people will be jealous. So never get yourself stopped. And the story about silent language of leadership, I'll leave for the panel discussion, because not everything is about talking. Sometimes you can lead without saying a word. It is how you behave. Over to the next out of our panel.
Thank you, Regina, for sharing the rich experiences. All right, so let's move to Jenny. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Shen, and thanks for the opportunity to serve on the panel today. I'd like to share a little bit about my experience to show how diverse, the community is. So I'm currently an associate professor at the University of Washington in Tacoma. And our university, or the campus, is one of the in the system of the University of Washington. So you may hear the name of University of Washington, but the main campus in Seattle. And we also have two campuses. One is in Tacoma, another is in Bosell. So in fact, Tacoma campus is an urban serving university. But we are you listed as the #1 for the local service and the performer. So I'm very proud to introduce our campus. So as a associate professor at the University of Washington, Tacoma, my teaching and the research is the main job. So for the teaching, I'm teaching computer engineering courses, basically all those relevant to the chips, like how to make a chip, writing Verilog language, using chip to apply to the control system and the computer architecture. So that's my teaching jobs. In addition, I also do research. So my research direction, signals and the systems. And also I'm interested in engineering education because of the population of the students on our campus. So what brings me to the current position? I have a long journey here. So I was born in China, got my bachelor and master degree in China too. And I went to Canada, University of Alberta for my PhD degree. And after that, I hold the NSERC postdoc fellowship, and I did my postdoc 1 year work at the UIUC coordinatory science lab. And then I switched to Australia. So I worked as a lecturer at UNSW in Australia for 2 years. And after that, because of the family relocation, I went to Washington State. So I worked as also an assistant professor as 2 years at the DigiPen. So if you ever heard that campus, it is a university, in fact, for gaming hobbies. You can develop a gaming different games, video games, okay, by programming. So it is a campus motivated me do more research and education in the area of computer engineering. And after that, I came to current position, and that is 13 years ago. So I joined the UW Tacoma in 2009. So here I'm giving you a highlight of my work of this academic year. So in addition to research, that is my master student, and also I cooperated with one of my colleagues relevant to applying the model predictive control to optimize the renewable energy utilization for the power grid system. In addition to that, I also involved in a project, which is the community college research initiative, which is a group in Washington State sponsored STEM transfer partnership. So we, as a 4-year campus, worked with a 2-year community college, help the transfer student can smoothly transfer and achieve success in the 4-year college, get the bachelor degree. And I believe it is my passion for teaching and the service. This year, I was nominated by my students as the Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Award. So they gave me very high evaluation in doing the teaching, and the service for the group of our campus of students. So just to show you, maybe, if you're curious, like what kind of research you do, I have some sample projects. We currently have engineering students, and also as a school, we have a computer science program, IT program. So most of the time, our research is involving a lot of undergraduate efforts as well as master students. So for example, one of the projects I work with the student is vision-based IoT devices for parking systems, like how can you identify the parking space and detecting the occupancy. And back to like 10 years ago, also I worked with my undergraduate students looking at the unmanned systems, and we targeted at modifying a standard that is the so-called joint autonomous unmanned system. And so in that case, we build up and propose some standards. We try to make the standards more easy and adaptable to other systems. And so when we have no engineering master program before, so it is back to like 10 years ago. So we only have the master in computing science. So I also worked with them, okay, in applying my knowledge, mainly the linear algebra matrices, theorems, to work with them, looking for some like application in the computing science discipline, machine learning, and neural network things. So here are some samples of the work I worked with them. So in my personal time, I really enjoy the nature. In Seattle and Washington State, you have lots of opportunity to work out, to enjoy the nature outside, water, skiing, hiking. So I believe when I go to nature, I find the peace, in my heart, and the kind of reboot, so that I can have more energy to working with the students, both research and the teaching, as well as the service. Mm-hmm. So as the last page, I have some thinking here. Want to share with the community, basically according to my journey and some lessons I've got. Okay, so basically, first you need to have a healthy body, both physically and mentally, and you can find lots of way to reduce the stress. But I think the most important is, on the one side, you have to follow your heart and be comfortable, be yourself. But in that case, you need to set the reasonable expectation, not too high. But meanwhile, don't feel afraid to do anything new. So just have the courage to work out of your comfort zone, because you have the full potential. If you never explore that, you never know that. And also there are two pieces of the advice to my students, because most of our students are first generation, and some of them, have no support from either financially or mentally from the family. So I always encourage them to finish the education so you can get a good job and take care of yourself. And meanwhile, take advantage of all the good opportunities and use it to prepare yourself for the future. And the last piece, but not least it is enjoy every day of our short life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, we have shared so many experiences of our life, our career with our 6 committee members. I hope you enjoyed listening to our experience. All right, so let's move to our next part of this session. So Regina, I will pass the floor to you, and it's all yours. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And now we will go to a very interesting part, which is namely the panel discussion.